Today we're going to be making some last minute Christmas gifts in just under 1 hour. Check it out. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a bunch of these wooden products and we're going to get them laser engraved. So here I have a charcuterie board that is a white marble mixed with this really nice wood. And then I have a matching set of coasters that is the same type of wood with some more white marble. And that also came with these nice knives that are meant for like a cheese board. And then finally I have this final kind of square shaped charcuterie board that I can use both sides for. This is a great project because it's easy enough that I don't have to put together all the wood. It's a lot cheaper actually to buy products like this and then just laser engrave it. And then you have your own special custom touch when you give it as a gift. So let me go show you how I get these laser engraved. Okay, so now I'm up in my office where I have my computer, and this is where I do all of my digital type of work. So as you can see here, I have Adobe Illustrator open, and this is where I am creating the digital files that I'm going to be engraving, because most of my work, actually pretty much all of my work for my digital products, I create all the digital graphics myself. A good option if you don't have these tools or the skill sets is that you can actually buy a lot of the designs online off of like Etsy or other websites. And apologies for the noise, I also have my 3D printer running in the background right up here. That's the Bambu Labs that I absolutely love. So while that's working on one job, I'm working on the other, and then we're gonna make another gift, and that's how we're gonna get this all done in just under an hour. So here I've already created one of the designs, and this is gonna be for the coaster, and it's gonna be a book quote. This one says, "Friendship was witnessing another's slow drip of miseries and long bouts of boredom and occasional triumphs." No idea what that means. My sister's just a big bookie and she likes these type of quotes that I asked her for. So now I'm going to go ahead and create 3 more quotes for the different coasters. I'm going to show you how I do that, and then we're going to get uploaded and laser engraved. So all I'm going to do here is create another text box, and here I'm going to type the next quote. We'll probably do like this so that it kind of takes up more of the coaster. It's coming out, but maybe this is a little better like this. Yeah, that's better. Okay, that's gonna be a second quote. So now, with Adobe Illustrator, you can't just you can just upload text. No, you can't. You can't just export text into like a laser engraving tool. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go up to. You're gonna select the text. You're gonna go to Object, and then Expand. I'm gonna say Expand Object Fill. Sorry. Expand Object Fill and OK. And now you can kind of see that it's kind of become outlined, which shows that it's now a vector, I believe. And now I also want to go to Pathfinder here and click this button, which will unite it. And when I do that, you're going to see not much happens, but it's just combining any of the vector lines so it doesn't overlay itself. And then we're just going to go to File, and we're gonna export the selection. We're gonna do it one at a time, and then I'll do quote 1. And I'm actually gonna do it as an SVG because I think it kind of has a little bit better resolution when you do that. And that's it. Okay, so we're gonna do this for every single quote, and then we're gonna take it over to the machine. So let me go show you how that's done. So now I have the coasters loaded up, and you can see on the software here that they're there, and I'm just going to position my engravings on each one kind of like this. And for each one, this is kind of like a certain type of, I'm going to put like a medium ash hardware wood. That should get me close enough for my settings, but we're also going to just, because the thickness will be different, I'm going to go and align on top of it. And so Now it's aligning in this one spot, and then I'm also going to just make sure I kind of like rotate. What I'll try to do is get the bottom of the script lined up here. Let's see. Yeah, it looks pretty good actually. And then like that, and a little smaller to have it fit. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to line up for the rest of the 4 of them, and we'll get engraving, and then we're going to go, while this is engraving, we're going to go work on the other gift to optimize liner time. The reason we're doing this under 60 minutes is, as you can see here, I have my baby monitor. If you follow me in my Instagram or other social medias, you know that we just had a new baby girl delivered in October. So she's 2 months old in a few days, and that means every 3 to 4 hours she wakes up and has to be fed. So we're dealing with a pretty good time constraint here, and so this is for any of you parents out there that are trying to get some DIY gifts done in a short amount of time. We can do it. I'm going to show you how we do it today. Here we go. Okay, these engravings will take 25 minutes, so that's great because it gives us a lot of time to work on the next gift as those are engraving, and then we can come back and engrave the other 2 boards that we have here. We're just going to go over to the Glowforge, fan setup. Here, let's get it started. Full blast on the inline fan that I've got here. And okay, so now that that laser is running, we are going to go ahead and make the second gift within the hour, which is going to be the ring toss game that's been pretty popular. I have a Secret Santa going on with all of my family, and it's a limit of $30, but because I'm going to be making it, it kind of lets me make something that's way cooler within that $30 price range, and that's going to be this ring toss game. So I've actually drawn out a pretty bad sketch, but with dimensions, that way that will really help me get this done in 60 minutes. To get started, I took these pieces of red oak that I had laying around the shop and measured out the same width for both the base of the main part of the game as well as the base of the shot glasses. To make this nice and easy, I used the chop saw for most of my cuts because it was within that 12-inch range. I didn't want to waste an entire piece of wood since I only needed a section of this, so I tried my best to actually just cut a section off of the red oak for the base that I would need. And this is where I ended up finding a problem with the wood I was working with. I actually had to cut a second piece because when I cut into this first piece, you could tell there was glue joints. That's because I had actually used this piece before and actually edge banded it, and then that was the dowels I used to connect them to. So that's not going to work. I don't want that to show. So cut out a new piece as the base, and that's going to be the base for where the rod's going to sit. I just have to get this flat and to length, and the rod will be where we have a second piece on top, not like this. I'm going to make it kind of look a little bit nicer with some grooves and stuff. And from here is where the strings will attach at the top that we will use for the actual ring toss. And then we're going to have a second piece that looks just like this as well, where the shot glasses will be used to try and race each other for the part of the game. I'm going to cut this about 12 inches. That's what a lot of people said online. And we're going to use the same chop saw to do it. So I realized the dowel that I was working with wasn't flat on each end. So I first just cut off a small part of one end, that way I'd have a flat piece to be working with, measured out the 12 inches that I wanted, and then cut at the second part of the dowel. Okay, that was enough time for the laser machine to finish upstairs, so let's go check on that real quick. Once the Glowforge was finished, I was able to get a look at how the engraving came out on the coasters, and they came out so nice. They came out really deep with the settings I used, which will make them really long lasting. And the font I chose really worked with this combination of wood and white marble. So now we're going to take these and we're just going to sand off all the burn edges, and we're going to get the other one loaded up. And we're looking pretty good on time. So let's go ahead and get started on the next engravings. For the second engraving, I'm using this charcuterie board that is, again, that kind of nice wood mixed with some white marble. and I'm creating a engraving that says "Thanks for dining at Nat's," which she requested. And it looks like this will take up another 33 minutes because it's a lot larger. And again, I'm going to be engraving it pretty deep within the actual boards. So now I'm going to hit start. We're going to let this run for a little while we go ahead and get back to building our game. All right, now that we're back, let's go ahead. Okay, so this piece will be for the top. And this is all out of solid red oak. It's just leftover wood I had, honestly, which will make this probably the nicest ring toss game that will be out there. So this will be 15.5 inches. Let's just square off one edge first. I'm again coming back to the chop saw because it's just a lot easier and quicker when I'm doing smaller cuts like this. And I've already got a straight edge along one line, so this will allow me to make more straight edges as I cut to the right measurement here. So now this part will sit right on top here. And I think it might be a little thick. I'm going to trim a little bit off the edges using the table saw, and then we're also going to angle in, which will be kind of like a little nice bevel. And we'll also bevel the edges. Now I'm just going to rotate my table saw blade 45 degrees so it'll make a nice beveled angle on the wood as I run it through on both sides. And I'm going to do this across all the different pieces of wood so that it'll give it just a little bit of extra detail and not make it a plain square looking product. Now, if you haven't realized by now, bevels are how woodworkers can make things just fancy in a cheap and easy way. That's how we're doing this under 60 minutes. For the base and for the shot glass holder, we're going to bevel these as well with the table saw real quick. All right, we're coming down on the hour, so we're going to do our last change. We're going to go upstairs and flip the charcuterie board to that logo I was telling you about, and we're going to come back and we're going to finish this game up. We're almost there, guys. After checking it out, I absolutely love how the engraving came out on the charcuterie board that says "Thanks for dining, Nat." I think my sister is going to absolutely love it. Now for the last one, I'm going to do the same "Thanks for dining" at Nat design because that's what she wanted, but because this is a double-sided charcuterie board, I'm going to surprise her on the back. I made her a book chat for Nat logo, which I think is pretty badass, so we're going to actually engrave that on the back of the charcuterie board as a little surprise for her. For the logo, I'm going to use the same process as before. I can upload this SVG of the logo straight into the Glowforge application, hit go on my Glowforge, and just watch this engrave as I go back and work on the game that I am building in my workshop. Okay, so lasers running, last engraving going on. Let's go ahead and get the game all finished up. So I need to just sand it, and then we got to glue everything together. And then these are pretty much all the parts we need to finish this up. For the shot glass part, I have this pretty nice shot glass with like this infused gold that I got off Amazon. I'll link it. I can link that. So I'm gonna have to drill holes, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 holes across this for the game, and that's how it's kind of gonna be played. And then I have these brass rings, these brass screws, and then this fishing line, and we're going to simply, attach it all, and it should be ready to go. So we've got about 10 minutes left until I got to feed this baby. Let's see if I can get this done in time here. I first measured out the center point on the base and then marked it so that I can come back and drill a hole nice and easily at the actual center. I did this both for the base and then also for the shot glass holder. I marked out where each of the shot glass holes should be drilled, and I'm going to be drilling about 5 of them across the whole thing here. And it was important for me to match up a drill bit with the actual dowel, making sure that I didn't make it too big where it wiggle around too much, but also not too small where it won't actually fit. And then I could take that drill bit and bring it to my drill press and go and actually drill out the holes to the set length for each of the pieces of wood, just about 1/4 to 1/2 into each of them. And it's really important here for me to take my time because red oak is a hardwood, so I need to take my time making passes with this drill press so that it doesn't get caught up or cause any burn marks. So I'm just taking little passes at a time of pulling it back, allowing for those wood shavings to be released and not get trapped while drilling into it. And you can see here that it's pretty much the perfect width for this dowel rod. And then I just have to come back and make the same size hole for the actual top piece that the dowel rod will be inserted into and make it about the same depth as the base. Now, before we glue this on, to make our lives a lot easier, I'm going to attach the hooks for where the string is going to attach, which is these guys. So I measured out about 1 inch from the edge of the wood here and punched it out to mark it, and then came back with a very tiny drill bit, just enough to allow me to screw in this eye hook where I will be attaching the string that will swing from it for part of the game. And I'm going to repeat this for the other side. And then for the base, I'm going to add a generous amount of wood glue here to make sure it's nice and tight once it sets. I'll insert the dowel rod, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the top. And I'm just going to let this sit there for a few hours to let the glue set. And that should be enough to hold it really into place and let the glue set and do its job. Now we're just going to let gravity do its work. And for the shot glasses, I started by just drilling a hole at the middle and then made 5 holes across the width, evenly spread across this piece of wood. And you might be able to notice here that it was actually even more important for these holes to take multiple passes, because I'm going that much further actually into the hardwood to allow this shot glass to sit within it and not fall over while playing the game. So this took just a little bit longer to make sure I didn't leave any burn marks. And once I had all the holes cut out, I could test it out, and the shot glass fits perfectly and can be used for the game really, really well. Now it's time for all the finishing touches on the game. So I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole at the bottom of the dowel rod. This is where one of the hooks will go, where you have to actually get the ring to swing and attach onto it. And I'm going to do this on both sides of the dowel rod and just try to keep it as parallel to each other as possible. And in this part, I had a lot of trouble with tying a fishing line around the actual hook. I guess I'm not that good at tying or knots, but I was able to get it at the end. And now that we're all done, you can see some finishing shots of how the game works with the shot glass fitting into the base here and how the top part came out. It's nice and simple, but it was a really fun game. And then I went ahead and just wrapped it in some Amazon box to really make it even more of a surprise, so that my cousin wouldn't know what it was when he opened it. And then I did the same thing for my sister's products that came out really nice, and she was really excited to have this to have in her apartment. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.